So now we're looking at stand-up against street harassment, and this is by L'Oréal Paris. Right, let's see if this one's any better than the Gillette ad.
We see it happen everywhere, at any time. 78% of women have experienced sexual harassment in public spaces.
What constitutes sexual harassment? Talking to someone, putting your hand on somebody's shoulder, looking at someone. What constitutes sexual harassment? And how do you specify sexual harassment over your general day-to-day harassment?
In public spaces, like a suggestive comment.
Here we go, at least they're given descriptive. A suggestive comment. So the way that people flirt with each other is through innuendo. There's a lot of people that make suggestive comments and sexual innuendo. So is that not applicable anymore? So like an obvious example of this is, oh my God, it's so long. That's what she said. You know, that's a standard typical joke about, which is a suggestive comment, because it's being flirty and it's being overtly flirtatious. So who gets to decide what is and what isn't sexual harassment?
A sexually explicit touch.
A sexually explicit touch. Again, it's sort of like, is this a sexually explicit touch? Is a handshake a sexually explicit touch? What makes a touch sexually explicit or not? There needs to be more guidelines in this ad so that you can, because this is the problem with being a tyrant. When you tell people what they can or can't do, you need to be very specific so that they don't break the rules. Because if this is sexual harassment, but this isn't sexual harassment, those few inches make all the difference, don't they? That's what she said.
An inappropriate gesture.
Again, like the Gillette advert, this is just so vague.
Or being followed. And it threatens.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't follow people, that's obvious. No, that's just fucking creepy.
It takes over who we are.
Oh yeah, catcalling and whistling and catcalling. Fuck's sake.
We see it happen, but stay cautiously silent and uncomfortably look away.
I don't.
Maybe because we don't.
Again, this is what I don't like about these kind of adverts. It's telling me what I think and feel, and it's not true. I don't encounter this behaviour. I've only had people whistle at me a few times, but that's basic. I don't mind that. But I've had people come up to me in the street and prevent me from seeing my child. I'm a victim of real street harassment. This is just petty shit.
Don't know what to do, how to help, or how to combat the situation.
If somebody touched me and I didn't want them to touch me, I'd say, don't touch me. That's what I'd say. I'd confront them.
The time has come to keep our heads up and to stand up for each other against street harassment.
And everyone can be part of the solution.
This is so bad. This is what the Gillette advert was doing. If you see somebody touch somebody in the street, you go up and you say something. You do not know that situation. You shouldn't be getting involved in other people's business. I had this I remember this when I was about 8 years old at school. The teacher would come out and say, never talk to strangers. And then the next day she'd come out and she'd say, if you ever see anyone in the street drop some litter, you go up to them and ask them to pick it up. Well, which one do you want me to do? So if I see a stranger in the street drop litter, I should approach them or not? I assume that everybody has agency. Everybody has sovereignty. If this woman doesn't like the guy touching her, that's up to her to sort that out. That's not up to some stranger across the room to come over and get involved in somebody else's business that they know absolutely nothing about. That's so dangerous, and it's going to create so many problems in society. And these big level companies are invoking civil discourse.
Sorry, I'm going to pay for it.
Excuse me. Is this yours?
Can you help me, please? I'm looking for this direction.
L'Oréal Paris and the nonprofit organization Holla.
So by those examples, you should not approach directly. You should approach indirectly with a pathetic excuse. So when you go up, you're lying about your intentions of the interaction. That's what this company is advocating. So instead of you going up and say, excuse me, you harassing this girl, you go up and say, oh, can you tell me the time? Fucking idiots.
have joined forces to teach men and women how to combat sexual harassment.
And then they'll like you for getting involved.
Teach men and women how to combat sexual harassment in public spaces with simple but impactful actions.
Learn how to combat street harassment at standup-india.com. Take a stand with L'Oréal Paris because we're all worth it.
Oh, this is terrible. L'Oréal Paris. So like L'Oréal Paris are telling everyone else what to do. I'm surprised they haven't got the Frenchman as their thing. With the moosey boysy. This is so bad. It's the same with the Jutler thing. Both adverts are encouraging people to go to complete strangers, not knowing the situation, and stick their nose in their business. Street harassment is between the two people that are involved, the harasser and the harassed. The best way to respond to street harassment is not to get involved because you don't know the situation. A male feminist is often referred to as a white knight because this is white knight behaviour. Oh, let me go in and save the damsel in distress. You don't know the situation. And I assume that everybody has responsibility for their own lives. And they have their responsibilities, the way that they conduct themselves in the world. And that everybody has agency. And people don't need to be told how to act. A person, man or woman, coming up to harass somebody in the street shouldn't be harassing somebody in the street. The person that's being harassed should stand up for themselves. And the person that doesn't know anything about the situation shouldn't get involved. And if everybody stays in their own business, everything will be fine.
Take a stand with L'Oréal Paris because we're all worth it.